Yeah, I say we just give it another maybe 1 minute.
Yeah, give it a minute. Give it one more minute, and then we'll just get started. You guys, I'm down in Point Loma. I know you guys are in San Diego. What part of San Diego are you in? Oh, I'm not sharing my screen either. Am I? South Park. Okay.
South Park's fun. Got some great restaurants, bars, good neighborhood vibe. Love it. Coronado.
All right, I'm gonna pull this Coronado. Nice.
Oh, yeah, it is super fun. Great place to be.
It was really fun this last couple days. This last weekend, huh? It's been so nice here. A little warm. I got sunburnt. All right, I'm gonna put this thing up.
All right, I say we get started.
All right.
All right, well, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for taking the time to show up tonight. It really means a lot to us that you made the time. And go ahead and thank yourself for giving yourself this gift of education. We've got a ton of information that we want to share with you, and we're just so grateful that you chose to join us tonight. A little bit about us. I'm Asia. This is Nate.
Hey, everybody. We had some more people join here as well, it looks like. Elaine and Foster.
Awesome. Welcome. So together, Nate and I have a combined 25 years of experience helping people use the VA loan. We're super passionate about helping military members and veterans like you guys learn how to leverage the VA loan to buy a home. And we're just super excited to help you here on this journey. And before we get started, we'd love to get to know a little bit about all of you. So if you could do us a favor, find the chat box at the bottom and drop a comment in the chat and let us know what area that you're hoping to buy a home in here in San Diego. So I'm in Encinitas up in North County.
I'm in Point Loma.
Yep, Point Loma.
Yep.
So we bridge the north and the south.
All right.
Nope, don't be shy, guys. Find the chat box there at the bottom. We'd love to hear from you.
I know a few you mentioned where you currently live. Maybe that's where you're looking for. Yeah, James is staying in that same area. North Park, South Park is awesome. I love it there. Lots to do.
Awesome. Yeah, 12 months. Cool. Well, it's a good time. I'm sure you guys have seen the news with interest rates, so great time. All right. So tonight's going to be simple and straightforward. And by the end of this, our goal is for you to have a clear understanding of how the VA loan really works, not just the myths, not the headlines that you're reading, just how it functions in real life. You'll also learn the strategies that we use to help VA buyers position themselves the right way and how to compete successfully here in San Diego when you're buying a home. And most importantly, you'll walk away feeling confident and clear about your next steps and what they should be. Sound good? Okay. And before we go any further, we want to get something out of the way. We are here simply to educate. That's it. There's no course to buy. There's no pitch coming later. And no surprise twist at the end. We will not be asking you guys for any money whatsoever. Our goal is simply to give you real clarity so you can make smart decisions when the timing is right for you to buy a home. And if you stay until the end, we will share how you can receive a guaranteed $500 credit just as a thank you for being here and taking the time to really learn to understand the process. You'll also have the opportunity to book a one-on-one call with us to speak further about your exact situation if you'd like to.
All right. And cameras on or off, it's completely your choice. We want this to be interactive, not just like you're watching some boring presentation. If you have a question in the middle, type in the chat, feel free to. I see you guys are already you're not shy, you're pretty chatty, so that's great. It's going to make it better for everybody. But yeah, so cameras on or off, your choice. There's absolutely no pressure. Now, a few of you've already found the chat box. That's great. I see a few more people here. Go ahead. Feel free to jump in there and throw a hi in the chat box if you'd like, just so you know how it works. Oh, hey. And I see Foster said hi. And as we go through this, go ahead, throw any questions you have in the chat as well. We'll also save some time at the end for a full Q&A. So if you'd rather ask it live, you'll have that opportunity as well. The more interactive this is, it's going to be most beneficial for everybody. So let me ask you this right now. Ask something honestly. How are you feeling right now about buying a home? I know everyone's at different stages in this. If you're feeling concerned, stressed out, intimidated, anxious is a big one. People say that is completely normal, especially in a market like this where, you know, it's easy to feel overwhelmed with all the conflicting information and all the headlines, right? So who feels that way? Anxious, stressed out? Drop it in the chat. Anxious. All right. Stressed about rates. Nice. Okay. These are all, we hear these quite a bit, especially with the rates. We intimidated. Okay. And excited. Elaine is excited. That's what I like to hear. So don't worry about any of this. We are going to address all these feelings tonight, and hopefully we can reverse those into feeling confident and really excited about buying a home. So part of what we're going to do tonight is simplify this so it just doesn't feel so overwhelming. The goal here is to educate you and give you an unfair advantage when you're competing for the perfect home, and to replace uncertainty with clarity. So that way you can move forward feeling educated and ready for the next step in the home buying process. Sound good?
Okay, so over the last 25 years working with buyers here in San Diego, Nate and I have seen the VA loan from pretty much every angle that you can imagine. And the truth is, it has a lot of huge advantages. When you know how it actually works, you will see that it's one of the most beneficial loan programs available to buyers. But it also tends to come with a lot of myths, a lot of half-truths, and unfortunately, a lot of outdated information that just is not accurate anymore. And that's where the confusion typically starts. So tonight we're going to strip away the misinformation and we're just going to focus on the facts, how it actually works, where it gives you advantage, and how to use it in the right way.
All right, so we're going to start with some myths. You probably heard a few of these before. I know a lot of people have heard things about the VA loan, and we've heard them all. We're going to explain the myths to you and tell you exactly what the truth is about all these, really. Asia?
Yep. So let's start with the common myths, because this is where a lot of confusion typically starts. Most buyers do not struggle with the VA loan itself. The struggle typically comes from the bad information that is surrounded around it. We are constantly hearing things like VA loans are weak, they take forever, appraisals are difficult, and this could not be further from the truth. These comments come typically from real estate agents who just don't have experience working with VA loans. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through what we hear all the time, and then we're going to look at what's actually true in today's San Diego market. So once you see the difference, the whole picture, I think, is going to change for you guys. All right, here's myth number one. Sellers won't accept a VA offer. This is probably the one that we hear the most, I would say. But here's the reality. In San Diego, sellers don't reject VA loans. What they reject are weak or poorly structured offers. And there's a big difference. So if a VA buyer is properly represented, meaning they've got a strong lender, they have a strong agent, their offer has clean terms, and that there's clear communication between everyone, the financing type alone is rarely the issue. And in competitive situations, it's about how the offer is presented and how confident the seller feels that it's going to close. They just want to make sure they get their money, right? When the strategy is right, VA offers get accepted all the time, at least in our experience, we've had the pleasure of getting lots of offers accepted. So don't listen to the noise out there about VA loans being weaker or that sellers will not accept them. It is just not true. Okay, myth number 2, VA appraisals are tough. So this one gets thrown around a lot as well, and it does tend to scare people more than it should. There's very little difference between a VA appraisal and any other appraisal. The appraiser is still going to be looking at value. They're looking at comparable home sales in the neighborhood. They will look at the overall condition of the home, just like they did with a conventional loan or any other type of appraisal. And yes, the VA does have property standards, but they're basic health and safety guidelines. They just want to make sure that you're going to be in a safe home. And in most normal, well-maintained homes here in San Diego, it's really not the obstacle that people make it out to be. When a deal is structured properly and the home is priced correctly, the appraisal process is typically smooth, and we just don't experience many issues with them like it's made out to be. All right, myth number 3, VA loans take too long to close. This one gets repeated a ton as well, and I feel like it makes people nervous for no reason. The reality is VA loans do not drag out and take longer than any other loan. When you have an agent and lender that are experienced, and when the file is structured correctly from the beginning, the timeline is just as competitive, if not more so, than anything else out there. In fact, we are routinely closing VA loans in as little as 10 days, which is crazy fast for traditional sales. And that's not because we're rushing them, but because we prepare for them properly. Closing speed isn't about the loan type. It's about how organized the team is and how well they know the process. This topic and all the other confusions around the VA loan really just stem from the experience level of the agent. So 10 days, guys, it's lightning fast.
Who's heard of some of these? So I know there's some myths out there. Have you guys heard of any of these that we've mentioned so far about the timing or that sellers won't accept VA offers? Drop it in the chat if so. And we have a few more myths. We have a couple more to go over here, but I just want to see if anyone's heard these before. I know the timing one comes a lot. James says yes. Okay, Foster, give a thumbs up on that. Yeah, so these are pretty common ones. I hope it makes sense. And we're going to cover this in Q&A at the end about the timing and why all that matters. But it's just these myths we hear about a lot. So we just like to make sure people hear about them or hear the truth about them. We have a few more.
All right. Myth number 4, you need perfect credit to use a VA loan. This one stops a ton of people before they even explore their options, which is super unfortunate. But here's the truth. There's no actual official minimum credit score set by the VA itself. Now, lenders may have their own guidelines, but the program was designed to be flexible, not exclusive. And what matters more is the overall picture. They're going to look at your income, debts, and how the file is structured. A lot of buyers count themselves out too early. The smart move is to actually look at the numbers and see what's possible instead of assuming that you don't qualify. So don't stress too much about this. We will walk you through all of this later as well. All right, myth number 5, you can only use your VA loan one time. This one surprises people all the time. Your VA benefit is not a one and done deal. You can use it multiple times over your lifetime. We help clients do this all the time. So if you buy a home and a couple years down the line, you decide you need more space or you want to change locations, you just need to sell the current home or refinance it into a different type of loan. This is how you unlock your VA loan eligibility, and it's how it allows you to purchase a new home with your VA loan. And this is the case whether you're selling or buying again, relocating or upgrading into your next home. The benefit is designed to support you long-term, not just for your first purchase. And when you understand how this works, you realize this is truly, guys, one of the most flexible loan programs out there. All right, myth number 6, you can't buy a condo with a VA loan. This one comes up a lot as well, especially here in San Diego, where condos and townhomes are extremely common. You can absolutely use your VA loan for condos, townhomes, single family homes, and even duplexes, threeplexes, fourplexes. Now, with condos specifically, the building does need to be VA approved, but that's where having the right team matters because we're going to go ahead and check that up front and guide you towards properties that will work. We've even been able to get buildings approved on our buyer's behalf. So even if we see one that's not approved, don't count it out yet.
Okay, so those are the main myths we usually hear. If there's any other ones that you've heard or things that we didn't cover there, drop it in the chat. We'll cover that in Q&A. But I know those are the main ones we hear from a lot of people. We like to get those out of the way.
Yep.
Now, we also have a lot of advantages to the VA loan, and that's what we're going to talk about now.
Yep. So let's see.
Did I go too far?
Nope. All right. So can you go to the next one?
There you go.
All right, so let's go ahead and break these down one by one. The top one is 0 down payment. That's huge. That's probably why the majority of you guys are here today. It's huge, especially here in San Diego, where having to save for a traditional down payment can take years and years. This allows you to step into home ownership without draining your savings and without taking a ton of time. So this obviously is one of the biggest perks of the VA loan, literally 0 down payment needed. It is probably the only investment in the entire world where you can invest $0 and make money off of it. I personally wish I could use this. So it's an amazing, amazing program. Number 2, no monthly private mortgage insurance, or also known as PMI. This is required by any lender when someone purchases a home with less than 20% down payment, which is a lot of home purchases here in San Diego. Now, that alone can save you hundreds of dollars every single month compared to other loan options. Okay. VA loans also tend to offer very competitive interest rates, which increases your buying power. And on top of that, there are actually limits on certain fees that can be charged to you, the VA buyer. And that's because the program is designed to protect you, not take advantage of you. So when you stack all of that together, it's easy to see why this benefit is so powerful when it's used correctly. Okay, now let's look at a side-by-side example here because numbers, I feel like, tell the story so much better. So if you look at both of these, you've got the VA loan, the conventional, same purchase price, 2 different loan options here. Okay, so purchase price of $750,000. On the VA side, you're at a slightly lower interest rate and you have 0 monthly mortgage insurance. On the conventional side, you've got a slightly higher rate and PMI added on every single month. If you guys look at that number for PMI, it's estimated at $451 per month. That's massive that you don't have to pay that because that would really cut into your monthly budget. Okay, the monthly payments end up being super similar, about $4,500 a month, but here's the real difference. If you look at the bottom, cash needed with the VA loan, you are bringing in $0. You're not bringing in a 5% down payment like you are on the conventional loan of $38,000. And I feel like that's where the power really shows up. Keeping your cash in your pocket gives you flexibility. It gives you reserves in case any issues come up down the line. And it also gives you leverage. And in a market like in San Diego here, that really matters.
All right, closing cost. Who has heard of closing costs? Drop a yes in the chat if so. And Elaine, we're going to cover that at the very end, that your question about the cap. I've heard that question before, and short answer is no, there's no cap. It changed probably about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but we'll cover that towards the end here. All right, so people have heard of closing costs. So closing costs is an area where a lot of people do get a little overwhelmed. And when you hear all these different terms like funding fee, escrow, title, property taxes, it can start to feel pretty complicated. Closing costs, what they are is they're just the standard expenses involved in a home purchase. Every loan type has them, and VA loans are not unique in that sense. Some of these are going to be lender related. Some are going to be third party services like escrow and title companies. And some are prepaid items like property taxes, homeowners insurance, things like that. So when you hear closing costs, that's what they're talking about when you hear that. Now, the better question is who actually pays these closing costs, right? The truth is, it really depends. Sometimes the buyer pays it, sometimes the seller pays it. Every transaction is completely different when it comes to who's paying for closing costs. Both buyers and sellers, they have their own fees, and traditionally, buyers are responsible for their own closing costs. That said, we've had a ton of success getting sellers to cover our clients' closing costs for them. There's no guarantee it's going to happen, but we'll always go to bat for you and negotiate as much as possible in your favor. Now, when we may not have as much leverage if there's multiple offers on the home, or there's just a lot of competition on the home. But our goal is always going to be the same, to get you the best possible terms when you're buying a home. Now, if the sellers aren't able to cover the closing cost, there are loan structures that can minimize and even eliminate out-of-pocket costs. And we'll walk through all those options with a one-on-one if we end up working together. But there are more options out there for sure.
Okay, one thing that we always like to talk about, especially with first-time home buyers, is the costs that don't always get talked about up front. So if you've been renting, some of this might be new to you because your landlord may have covered it. So the first one is utilities. As a homeowner, you're usually going to be paying for things like electricity, gas, water, trash, internet. You're usually going to be paying those yourself. Next is homeowners insurance. So this protects your home if something unexpected happens. It's also required by the lender. If they're going to lend you money on a home, they want to make sure that the home is protected. Most people structure their mortgage payments to pay this monthly as part of their mortgage, so it's spread out and predictable. And we're also going to include that in your monthly estimate, your monthly budget. So it's always going to be included, so it won't be a surprise. Okay, there's also property taxes. Now, this is a tax you pay for owning the home. Again, this is usually paid the same monthly within your mortgage, depending on how you structure it. Okay. And then there's home maintenance. When you own a home, there's no landlord to call. So things will need fixing over time. Big stuff, small stuff. We always just suggest setting aside a little each month so repairs never feel like a big surprise. If the home is in a community with an HOA or a homeowners association, there may be dues or fees related. And these are regular fees that help maintain shared areas or amenities in the neighborhood. Now, none of this is meant to scare you. It's just about knowing what to expect. Our goal is to walk you through all of this ahead of time so you feel confident and prepared, not ever caught off guard.
Hey, so does this make sense to everybody? We just like to bring this up because some people, this is completely obvious to, right? And others, it may be the first time you've heard of it. So we just like to bring it up and make sure everyone's aware of what they're looking at. All right, and I know Foster brought this up earlier that they had concerns about rates. I'm sure everyone probably has that same concern, and we have a little bit to say about that and explain how that works.
Yep. So let's address that big question. Are mortgage rates too high? That's probably the number one concern that we do hear right now. And first off, when you look at historical rates, today's numbers are not extreme. They may feel high compared to what you had seen, a few years ago when we were at 2 to 3%. But historically speaking, they're actually much lower than they have been in the past. So if you looked at the 80s, people who are paying 15 to 18% on their mortgages. So today we are right around 6%. We've even dipped a little bit lower than that recently, which is awesome. It's the lowest that we've been in like 3 or 4 years. It's excellent. Secondly, it's important to understand what the rate actually means. The interest rate impacts your monthly payment, and your payments are really what are going to matter to you. So keep in mind, are you buying a $900,000 home, or are you buying a monthly payment that fits your life? When you're deciding on your budget, you are really figuring out how much you can afford per month, right? So there is a good chance you won't stay in the home for 30 years and actually pay the full $900,000 plus interest. Not to mention that homes appreciate in value, especially here in San Diego. So, it's like a forced savings account for you. Your incomes typically grow and loans can always be refinanced. So the key is making a smart move based on today's numbers, not waiting for perfect conditions because those may never come. Now, we did mention that loans can be refinanced. Does everyone know what a refinance is? If you could drop a yes or a no in the chat. We got a thumbs up. So a refinance or refinancing is essentially replacing your current home loan with a new one where you get a better interest rate and your monthly payment is lowered. So sounds pretty amazing, right? Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? So if you purchase a home at 6% today and rates drop to 4%, you are not married to that 6% rate. You can always lock in a lower rate down the line. So does that make sense to everyone? Drop it in the chat if so.
Right. Yeah, thumbs up. All right. And if there's any more questions about that, we will cover that in Q&A. All right. So quick question. Who here thinks a home inspection and an appraisal are the same thing? Say yes in the chat. If so, say no if you know the difference. There's no wrong answer. Well, any answer is fine for now. All right. We got yes. Yes. All right. So a lot of people do, and we got another yes. All right. So a lot of people do think they're the same thing. And it makes sense because both happen during escrow. Both involve someone coming out to the property to assess the home, but they do serve completely different purposes. Both are in place. They're both in place to protect you. Both are super important, but they are not the same thing.
Okay, so here's the difference. On the left, you have the home inspection. And if you can look at the list, you'll see the purpose is to evaluate the condition of the property, how everything is functioning, what may need repair, and what you should be aware of before you fully commit to buying a home. If issues do come up during the inspection, that's where negotiations happen. And depending on the severity, we may be able to ask the seller for repairs or credits towards those repairs. Okay, now on the right, you have the appraisal. So the appraisal is ordered by the lender, and the goal isn't to find flaws, it's to confirm the value supports the purchase price. And the lender is always, the lender is only going to lend on what the home is actually worth. And again, ultimately, it's put into place to protect you. So again, inspection is to confirm the condition, appraisal is to confirm the value, different purposes, different roles, both important. All right, this is where it all comes together. So if you want to win as a VA buyer, it's not about luck. It is definitely about strategy. And first, you want to use a lender who actually understands the VA loan. You want somebody who does them consistently. That's going to make a huge difference in speed and confidence from the other side in accepting your offer. The lender should be getting you fully pre-approved and ideally underwritten before you even submit an offer. And when we tell the seller that you're solid and can educate them on where you are in the process with the lender, that is a huge part of our negotiating power. Okay, next, understanding the VA appraisal process. Again, it's not difficult, but you need to know how it works, right? Or we need to at least. All right, shorten timelines whenever possible. If we can close in 10 days, we're going to say it. We don't want to keep that a secret because speed builds leverage. And this is how we're able to beat out the other 3 to 4 offers almost every single time. It's a huge part of our negotiating power as well. It even helps us compete against cash offers. If you've heard, everybody's losing to cash offers because they're able to close in 2 weeks, well, here we are at 10 days. So we're super competitive. You want to use an agent who knows how to position VA buyers properly and how to educate the listing agent if needed, if they're unfamiliar with the process. A lot of resistance disappears once sellers and listing agents understand the facts. You guys, it is not just about outbidding someone on price. You should not always just be giving the seller more money like many agents are going to tell you to. When you have flexible terms and short timelines, we can get the sellers to take your offer many, many times based on how we're presenting those terms. Okay, VA buyers win all the time. You just have to be able to approach it in the right way.
All right. So let me ask you again, after hearing all this, like how you feel about buying a home now? Do you feel less concerned? Do you feel more clear on how the VA loan actually works? Drop it in the chat if yes. Do you feel more confident about competing in this market? Because I know people say with the VA loan, you can't compete in this market. We do it all the time. All right. Less intimidated. We got more clear now. Great.
Awesome.
All right. And prepared to take the next step. Do you feel like you're ready to know what to do next? Drop in the chat how you're feeling tonight.
We want to know, was this a good use of your time tonight? Drop a yes in the chat box and let us know. Are you feeling more confident now? Do you feel confident in your ability to buy a home using the VA loan? Type yes in the chat box.
All right. Everyone says yes. That's great.
Are you guys excited to buy a house now? Do you want to know exactly what your next step should be for you to buy a home? Say yes in the chat. Let us know. Yes, very excited. Yes, awesome. Love hearing that, guys. Okay, and as we mentioned at the beginning, we do have a gift for you as a thank you for sticking around for the entire class. We are offering everyone who books a call with us tonight and who ends up working with us a guaranteed $500 credit towards the purchase of a new home. That means we guarantee that we will negotiate the seller to cover a minimum of $500 for you. And if we are not able to get the seller to cover $500, we will personally cover this cost for you. That's a $500 value just for showing up for yourself tonight. If you're excited and ready to get started, let us know in the chat. Drop a yes, whatever you're feeling. Yes. Cool.
All right. We got yes, yes, and yes.
Loving it. Okay. So how can we help you guys now? Are there any specific questions you have? Are you ready to chat one-on-one to go over your specific situation? Are you ready to dive deeper into the buying process and what your next steps are for buying a home? That's what we're here for. We're here to help.
All right. And we have one question to cover here in Q&A. First, go ahead, Asia. I wanted to mention something first for you.
Yeah. If you guys are ready to take the next step, go ahead and tap the button Nate's going to throw up there for you. Well, he's going to throw the button up. And go ahead and book your no obligation 15-minute call with us now. That is going to be your next step towards purchasing a home here in San Diego. And we will go over your specific situation and we're going to walk you through the next steps and we will get you on the track to home ownership. We always start with just a quick 10 to 15-minute call to get the ball rolling. And we could be out looking at homes as soon as this week. So who is ready? Go ahead and tap the button now to book that call.
All right. And I know a lot of people, they'll book the call. If you're on your phone by chance, it'll take you to a new tab. just back out of there, go to your, after you book the call, go back to the other thing and you'll see us again. And we're going to go into Q&A right after this. But we want to give everyone time to book that call. I'm going to throw it up in case it missed everybody. I'll throw it up one more time. Book that call, and then we're going to go over Q&A. We have a few questions. I know the first one is they have a question on, does VA loan have a cap? So we're going to go into that right now. Did everyone get a chance to book that call? I'll throw it up just in case one more time. All right. So we'll go ahead and go to Q&A while you're doing that. And again, if you booked the call and you're in a different screen, just back out, just go to your tabs in your browser and just click back to this screen and you can see us again. Otherwise, you can still hear us. So someone asked about is there a cap on VA loans? You asked that question 6-7 years ago. There was a cap on it, and it was somewhere around, I forget, like 800,000-900,000 at the time. A few years back, I'd say probably about 5 years back, that cap got removed completely. So technically speaking, there is no cap. Now, it is all very specific on lender. The lenders aren't just going to give anybody a $5 million loan. It's all dependent on lenders. So I wouldn't worry about a cap necessarily, and we can cover this on the one-on-one, but overall, there's not technically a cap on VA loans.
There is a little bit of a difference. So if you purchase a home that's 1.2 million or higher, you will have to put down, I think it's 25% from the 1.2 to whatever you buy. So if you end up buying a $1.3 million house, you'll have to put down a deposit of 25% between that $100,000, so about $25,000. But aside from that, there is no cap as long as you're qualified.
All right. And any other questions around that? Go ahead and book. Make sure you've booked that. I'm going to drop that one more time. Booked that appointment, and we have very good lenders just that you can speak with as well if you're ever interested in that. But that is a very good question. Any other questions right now? Raise your hand or just drop it in the chat.
Yeah, if you guys want to raise your hand, we can unmute you if you'd like to ask live. Feel free. This is your time to ask whatever questions you have. Of course, we can go over things on the one-on-one call as well, but now's your time. So if there's anything that we haven't covered or anything that's on your mind, anything you're thinking about buying here in San Diego, just let us know.
I can tell you guys are not shy. So I hope everyone learned something tonight. I know there's a lot of myths around the VA loan, and I hope you guys just got some clarity around this all. I can tell you're all excited after you learn some of this. And everybody, we look forward to chatting with you more. I will save my question. Okay, James is going to save the question for the one-on-one. Great. Well, we look forward to speak with you about that. Any other questions? Feel free to either drop in the chat now. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for joining us. And I will, in case
we're going to stay on for a little bit longer just in case people need a little bit more time to book that call. But if not, feel free to hop off. But we are really looking forward to speaking to you guys all one-on-one and getting the ball rolling. And when we talk to you on the phone, if you haven't already spoken to a lender, we'll put you in touch with somebody and we'll get everything moving as quickly as possible, or as quickly as you guys are ready. We'll talk to you about your specific situation, and and we'll go from there. And it seems like we have successfully gone through all of the questions. You guys didn't have a ton of questions. I guess that's a good thing. So now your job when we have that call together is to tell us what you want in a new home. So you guys tell us what you really want in the home, and it's our job to figure out how to make it happen for you. So that's the fun part, right? So you get to figure out what you're looking for and what you want. And if you're not sure on areas, we can help you with that. We're both super familiar with the entire county and, up into Riverside and Orange County as well. It's a super exciting time. And I'm just so excited that you guys are here and looking forward to taking advantage of the VA loan. It's just such an awesome program.
You know what? And there was that other one. I know people mentioned mortgage rates earlier too, and we can cover this in the one-on-ones. But with mortgage rates, we don't dive into it too far because we don't want to get in the weeds. But there's ways to manipulate that rate and lower it further down than it already is. There's ways to literally get those rates into the 4% sometimes. It's doable. We do it all the time. We'll cover that in a one-on-one once. I assume everyone booked that. Wait, and we have another question too. But yeah, if you have a question about that, there are ways to lower that rate. Elaine is asking, is there a limit to how many times you can refinance? Great question.
No, there's not. It's going to be a process where you'll see when you're getting approved with a lender, they do require, a reasonable amount of paperwork for you to send over because they want to make sure that you're fully qualified. It's actually a lot easier with people that have been or are in the military because they can access that information pretty quickly. But you can refinance as many times as you want. There are fees associated with each refinance, but that's also lender specific where sometimes they have specials that, I don't know if you would call it specials that they run, but where there's less fees on refinance, or sometimes they'll have a special program where you can refinance for free down the line. It's just lender specific, but no, there's no cap to how many times you can refinance.
Great question.
Yep. And so Nate was mentioning that you can buy down the rate. You can actually, again, ask for the seller to buy down the rate for you. So if a home has been on the market or if there's not a lot of competition, we've had a lot of good luck getting sellers to pay for a rate buy down. You can do a permanent rate buy down, or you can do a 2-1 buy down, which is where the first year it gets bought down 2%. So if we're at 5.75, that for 1 year, you can get that rate at 3.75. And then the next year it's 1% lower at 4.75. And then it goes to 5.75 after that. And typically within that time, you'll probably have a chance to refinance if the rates do dip lower. There's also a 3-2-1 buy down where the first year it's 3%, the second year it's 2%, and the next year it's 1% lower, and then it goes to the regular rate. So there's some really, really amazing, incredible options for you guys. It's not just what the rates are today. There's some tricks that we can do and some things that we can negotiate for you on your behalf where we can possibly get those rates down even lower. So we're matching those lower rates. It just depends on the house, how much competition there is, and what we're able to negotiate with the seller.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense how rate buy downs work?
Yeah.
Cool.
Did everyone get a chance to book a call? If not,
I'll throw it up there one more time.
Yeah, throw it up one more time. And we'll give you a little bit more time.
There you go.
Awesome. These are some great questions. So thank you. Thank you for asking that.
It's an exciting time to be a buyer too. It hasn't been that way in San Diego for years. It's been competitive over the years. It's been all you've ever heard is seller's market, seller's market, seller's market. That is not being said anymore. It is not a seller's market. A lot of people are calling it a buyer's market right now.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah. I've been selling real estate for 14 years. It's been a seller's market the entire time until right now. So this is a really, really good time for you guys. You have a lot more leverage and we're coming into the busier season. So come March and summer, there's just tons more homes on the market. And now because rates have dropped, sellers are more encouraged to sell. So people have been sitting on their homes and there hasn't been a ton of inventory because they have these incredible rates on their homes. And so they're like, I'm not going to sell my home that's at 3% interest rate. Now that rates are coming down, we're seeing a lot more sellers putting homes on the market. And it's a great time. Plus they're lower for you guys. So yeah, it's a great time.
For sure.
All right. Well, I think that does it. Thank you guys all for showing up, and thanks for your great questions. And
we'll chat more on the call.
Yeah, we're looking forward to talking to you guys. So thanks so much for coming tonight. And I guess we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for chatting. It's been great.
Yeah. Have a great night, everybody. All right, we'll talk to you soon.